Hi, my name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Today we're going to be Proverbs chapter 17, verse 12. We have an interesting little verse. Let a man meet a bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. First glance, this contrast might surprise us, but hopefully we can clear up what the author is saying here and the importance of what he's saying here. In general, bears are feared by most people. If we go for a walk in the woods and we see a bear in the woods, our first response is not to run up and pet it like a cat. The first response is to hide or to run. A bear's behavior can be unpredictable. When you see them in the wild, they're not passive and amiable. They seem like they walk around in a bad mood all the time. They're just looking to be provoked, looking for food. They're hungry. Obviously, a mama bear takes that up a notch. A mama bear who's been robbed of her cubs is a bear you want to avoid at all costs. We grew up on a farm and we had lots of woods around us and there were bears around us. And one of the things my parents told me all the time, if you see a cub alone, make sure you take notice of where the mother bear is. You don't want to come between a bear and her cub. When you go for a walk in the woods, meeting a bear is a meeting we hope to avoid. Bears are strong. They're vicious, they're deadly, they protect their young, and woe to the person who tries to rob the bear of her cubs. If you meet a bear who's been robbed of her cubs, lying down and playing dead, as evidently we're supposed to do when a bear attacks, probably won't work in such a case. Bear attacks are gruesome things. When you see someone who's survived such an attack, they are bloody, they're beaten, their skin's ripped off, they bite marks. It's a long road to recovery. God even uses this analogy to describe what he's going to do one day to those who forget him. In Hosea chapter 13, 6-8, it says, when they had pasture, they were filled with their heart, and their heart was exalted. Therefore they forgot me. So I will be to them like a lion, like a leopard by the road I will lurk. I will meet them like a bear deprived of her cubs. I will tear open their rib cage, and therefore I will devour them like a lion. The wild beast shall tear them. A bear deprived of or robbed of her cubs is an angry bear. It's a vicious bear, and she will not be pacified. But as bad as such an encounter would be, there's one that's even worse. Let a man meet a bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. I think the verse before and after verse 12, as well as the whole book of Proverbs, tell us why, but let me read verses 11 and 13. An evil man seeks only rebellion. Therefore a cruel messenger will be sent against him. Verse 13, whoever rewards evil for good, evil will not depart from his house. Proverbs 17:13. Fools seek rebellion, only rebellion. Fools reward evil for good. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. A fool in his folly, a fool acting out his foolishness is a person we should seek to avoid, not befriend. Fools may not be as strong as a bear. Fools may not have claws and teeth like a bear. But fools can do something far more devastating and dangerous than bears. They can talk. And Proverbs reminds us of the power of the tongue, the mouth, the lips of the fool over and over again. Bears may appear sometimes cute on TV and in the zoo, but you can't trust them. And fools sometimes appear to be personable and winsome, and they flatter you with their lips and make you feel special, but they don't mean it. They're setting you up. You can't trust them. Bears can hurt your body, but they can't touch the soul. Bears can't talk. They can't entice you to do evil. They can't lie. They don't rejoice in evil. Bears don't mock. Bears aren't scoffers. The folly of fools we see all around us is corrupting, it is destroying, it is spiritually luring people away from God. To get tangled up with the fools and their folly is to get dragged down into a quagmire that is difficult to escape from. Arguments that may exalt themselves against God are foolishness. And we see this quite a bit now, even in religious circles, that people are deconstructing, they're rethinking their faith, they're rejecting the fundamentals of the faith that they have embraced for years, but now because of the folly of fools, the teaching of fools, the wisdom of fools, they're changing their stance on these things, showing that they were never truly saved to begin with. But that's the folly of fools. That's the danger of hooking up with fools in their folly. Fools mock religion. They mock God. They mock the gospel. They mock the cross. They attack Christian virtue, Christian morality, the Christian family, marriage, and the church. Proverbs gives us some very clear instruction regarding this in chapter 4, verse 13 to 17. This first starts with a positive admonition. Take firm hold of instruction and do not let go. Keep her, for she is your life. Do not enter the path of the wicked, and do not walk in the way of evil. Avoid it. Do not travel on it. Turn away from it and pass on, for they do not sleep unless they have done evil, and their sleep is taken away unless they make someone fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness, and they drink the wine of violence. That is the folly of fools. Yes, we should take bears seriously. Bears that we see in the woods, we should take them seriously. We should be careful, especially when robbed of her cubs. But we should take fools even more seriously. Fools are a far greater threat to our spiritual life than a bear robbed of her cubs. So ideally, we wouldn't want to meet either one of these scenarios. We don't want to meet a bear robbed of her cubs. We don't want to meet a fool a fool in his folly. But if we have to choose, what Proverbs is telling us, you're better off to choose the bear. That just shows us the devastating results of foolishness in the life, and the foolishness that can be passed on and hurt and devastate lives spiritually. Fools are not to be tolerated. They are not to be befriended. They may sound sweet and innocent, but what they believe and what they teach and what they want us to do is deadly. And they can have eternal spiritual consequences if we don't know Christ. They want us to keep us from Christ. They want to keep us from knowing him. So let a man meet a bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. May this truth guide us and guard us in the trenches of life as we seek to live our lives for the glory of God and the good of others. May God bless.